Yo, peace was good. Welcome to another hip hop album review. This is part 312. The album that I would like to review tonight is Marl with his second album titled In Control Volume 2 for Your Steering Pleasure, released in 1991. I mean, that's just sound like a fucking corny movie from the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. For your steering pleasure. Like, can only imagine the tagline for that shit. But yeah, man. So I did a review on Marley's In Control Volume One album, which is a bonafide classic. Which I forgot to mention that that album is now on DSPs, meaning it's not on Spotify, which DSP standing for digital streaming platforms. It's not on iTunes. It's not on Apple Music. It's not on Spotify, anything like that, which is unfortunate. It is on YouTube. You can find it on YouTube. The same thing goes with this album. It's not on DSPs. There's some songs here and there that are on. It's like in pieces that are on this album. This album is on YouTube as well. Again, a lot of the Coachella catalog is now on DSPs, which is sad. But yeah, right after the release of In Control Volume 1, he basically was in high demand as far as like production. And from there on, he was basically like the person to go to when it comes to like doing whole albums. I mean, we're talking Long Live the King by Big Daddy Kane, Craig G's The Kingpin, Roxanne Shantae's Bad Sister, the first two MC Shan albums, Born to Be Wild, Down by Law, Coogee Rap, Road to the Riches, and then that's why with that sparked the eyes of L. Cool J, which he ended up doing the Jingling Baby, I think the remix, and then in 1990, him and Marl did a whole album titled Mama Should Knock You Out, which is a classic album. That album should be studied. That album is fucking dope. Marl put his fucking foot in that album on the production. Cool J was stomping niggas mud holes and all that shit. And then 1991 came out with this album, right? The album spawned two singles. The singles include The Symphony Part 2 and Check the Mirror. Those are the two singles of the album. Alright, so let's get into it. Show you what the album looks like. You got Marl, with his Beamer. You know what I'm saying? He was a big fan of Beamers, stuff like that. Pretty cool. Alright. Alright, that's what the CD looks like. That's pretty cool. Alright, open it up. Then you got the track listing. And then you got Marl just like, holding his hand like that. Then you got pictures of like Master Ace and Craig G. Tragedy Gaddafi, but he was called Intelligent Hoodlum at the time, which wasn't his real name. Tragedy was always his name, but Intelligent Hoodlum for marketing purposes. Guy named Scram, don't know who that is. Next Phase, Eclipse, MC Cash, Portia, The Flex. That's funny. Kevy Kev and Act B, Big Money Wiz, Perfection, Pure Cane Sugar. What the fuck? That's definitely early 90s shit. MC and Mason. Excuse me, and Mike Nice. Those are basically like the features, and those are the pictures, so it's pretty cool. Obviously, we all know Marl did the production of the album, the whole album. So let's just get into the album, man. Without further ado, without wasting time. We're gonna start with the first track. First track starts with the intro. Just a skit basically saying like a flight attendant letting the passengers know about the about air altitude and stereo air altitude being the airline, and then in stereo, that kind of thing. It's a pretty dope tagline. So I thought that was pretty cool. All right, so not too crazy. And then we're gonna go to track 2, No Bullshit, featuring Marl. This is basically like a braggadocio track by Marl. It's a solo track by him. He does the rapping and that kind of thing. I thought the beat was okay. Braggadocio track, nothing to write home about. So I usually kind of skip that track. Then when we get to track 3, Symphony Part 2, which features Master Ace, Craig G, Big Daddy Kane, Cool G Rap, Lil Daddy Shane. As I mentioned before, that was the first single of the video of the album, and it does have a video. Dope posse cut. The beat definitely kind of gives me what's the word? Like Prince of Darkness, like Big Daddy Kane's Prince of Darkness, like one of his harder tracks. Definitely give me vibes of that album. Or it could have been like on one of, Cool G Rap's albums, like the one that did it live or something like that. Like a Lucy track that Cool G Rap would have rapped around like 90, 91, that kind of thing. I think G Rap and excuse me, I think G Rap had the best verse. Love the line when he says, "Yo, straight out the motherfucking gutter, I open my shelter butter or open my shelter to butter all brothers and ripping up like a box cutter. You press up, I pull the trigger. I figures nobody could dig a Millie Villy ass nigga. Prepare for shooting fair. I'm knocking boots, daily fruits. I rep them out with like the roots, like Alex Haley. Here I come straight out the mouth. I'm kicking it slick. Lyrics are harder than a dick inside a whorehouse. Your neighborhood hero's a hero. Hero's a zero. I'm sending motherfuckers on a midnight run like De Niro. So here goes a rapper to the tackle. Feel a steel scalpel pressed on your Adam's apple. Reach for the pistol and you're crazy. Try to blast and I'll be spinning ass like Patrick Swayze. Whew, fire, man. Cool G Rap was that nigga, man. And like I said, the violent raps and shit like that everybody likes from Griselda and shit. Cool G Rap started that shit. But yeah, people criticize Cool G Rap for doing mafioso rap, but they praise Griselda and among other people. I mean, no shots to Griselda, but come on, like, stop the shenanigans. So, now it's track 3, the Symphony Part 2. Track 4, Level Check. That's just an interlude, nothing too crazy. Track 5, Buffalo Soldier. That was a pretty dope track. That was produced. That was featuring MC Amazing. Dope track, dope beat. I didn't really write any lyrics on this album, so on this song. So it was cool track. Then we go to track 6, Mobile Phone. Nothing too crazy about that. It was just a skit. Track 7, At the Drop of a Dime, feature MC Cash. Dope song right there. One of my favorite tracks. Definitely sound like something that L Cool J would have rocked on Mama Say Knock You Out. I like the line when he says, "I stop MCs like Godzilla. My rap's a thriller. Figure me wrong and be a South spiller. Second to none, making MCs run for cover." Ooh, fire! Love that shit. So that was track 7, At the Drop of a Dime. Track 8, Scanning the Dial. That was another skit, interlude. Didn't really care for that. Track 9, Something Funky to Listen to. Dope song right there. That was featuring Next Phase. I didn't write lyrics out there because again, there wasn't like amazing to write about, and plus like it was really hard to find lyrics on some of the songs, so like I had to kind of really listen, but nothing really stuck out. Definitely sound like something Tragedy would have rapped over around that time period. Definitely sound like that would have been like a something around his first time, The Intelligent Hoodlum, or something a little later, like 91, 92. I can see Tragedy over that beat, but it's a very dope song right there. Yeah, dope song. Something fucking to listen to. Track 9, America Eats the Young, featuring Tragedy and Chuck D of Public Enemy fame. One of my favorite tracks. Love this joint right here. Especially around the time that this could have been a single, but it never made it. I think because Chuck D being a big name, I think it would have been more of like um, a budget thing. Because at the time he was with Def Jam, so that would have been a lot of money and shit like that. But Tragedy fucking caught a body. Chuck D, he just does like the chorus and shit like that, the hook. Like the line by Tragedy when he says, "America eats the young." That's the title. Black on crime is suicidal. Racial outbursts killed in Benz and hers. Now he's free in the universe. Killed a cop. He's unworthy. Murder that poor black boy in Jersey. There's no sorrow, but you can borrow. America kills tomorrow. Get a grip. Time is slipping. Howard Beats. Michael Griffin. To all Halliburton. Larry Davis. These are the examples America gave us. Pain is utter. Black converter, Mr. President, he's the murderer. Brothers waiting for the government to save them instead of using the minds the Lord gave them. Whoo, fire! I love that flow that he had, like the way he pockets the rhymes. Like he kind of gave me like Arrest the President from his first time in Intelligent Hoodlum, which I did a review on years ago. He kind of gave me that same flow, so I like that style of rhyming. It's really dope. And the beat is just fire. Again, easily could have been a single at that time. So that was track 10, America Eats the Young. Track 11, Check the Mirror, featuring Portia. This is an R&B track. Definitely sound like something L Cool J would have rapped over. Maybe not as a full song, but like a remix or like a featured song that I could see L Cool J being on. Like L Cool J would have been a nice addition to the track. Again, this is the second and final single of the album. This was a decent track. I didn't really care for it too much, but it was okay. So that's track 11, Check the Mirror. Track 12, I Be Getting Busy, featuring L Cool J. Fucking love this song right here. Killed this shit. Definitely sound like something that easily could have been on Mama Should Knock You Out. He was still on that vibe when he made this song. One of my favorite tracks of the album. I like the line when he says, "Explosive coming out with a vengeance, tearing my path, bodies at the entrance. Depressed because he lost his empire. Executed when he's caught up in the crossfire and busted and pushed over the edge of panic. He's another Titanic." Woo! Fire! Love that shit. So that was track 12, I Be Getting Busy. Track 13, Girl, I Was Wrong, featuring The Flex. This was okay. This was a cool track. Definitely gives me like a New Jack Swing R&B type of joint. Cause around this time, Marley Marl was doing like a lot of R&B remixes and some like exclusive tracks and things like that. So he was trying to get into that bag, So it was cool. Cool track. Nothing too crazy about that. Then we go to track 14, Fools in Love, featuring Heavy D in Eclipse. Don't know who Eclipse is, but he does like the hook or whatever the case may be. Heavy D in the song, he does. Excuse me, sorry. Heavy D in this song, he actually sings in patois. He's Jamaican. Basically saying like he's not a sucker for love and that kind of thing. That's another song that easily could have been a single, especially around that time. Really dope joint right there. Dope song. Recipes Heavy D, by the way. And then so that was Fools in Love, track 14, Fools in Love. Track 15, Another Hooker, featuring Big Money Wiz. That was an okay track. I didn't get anything out of it. It was kind of weak in my opinion. Track 16, Cheating Days Are Over, featuring Mike Nice. This was a cool track. I like it. It definitely gives me the production. It reminded me of something that Tragedy would have used on his first album, the Intelligent Hoodlum album, or the self-titled. Basically, in this song, he pretty much talks about how we've done it before, where like you and your boys, you try to get some chicks, you try to get some trim, keep it PG, try to get some trim, and basically, you get a group of girls, but then it's like, all right, you didn't get with us. If you're gonna get with us, you gotta get with everybody. So somebody has to take one for the team, and that was basically the case like that. And usually when people say take one for the team, it's usually a chick that's a butterface basically, and this is what happened in this case. so he so he actually talks about his experience with that Mike Nice. I like the line when he says, "Hung up the phone, threw on my dip wear, had a half an hour before I had to be there. Got to his house, he seemed surprised. Something was wrong, and I could see it in his eyes. Stepped in the house, and what did I see? Her on a long couch, sat Beauty and the Beast." Oh my god, that's too funny, man. So that was track 16, Cheating Days Are Over. That's another song that easily could have been a single, especially for that time, because at that time, like, people did a lot of introspective songs, and they were actually, dope, successful singles, you know what I mean? Which is, like, kind of a lost art, which is kind of sad. Nowadays, everybody's, doing trapping, or they're doing strip club music. It's just kind of ridiculous, if you ask me. But yeah, that was a dope song, Cheating Days Are Over. Track 17, Reach Out, featuring Perfection. This was an R&B track. This was cool. Nothing too crazy. Track 18, Keep Control. This is a posse cut, which features Tragedy, King T. Shout out to King T from the West Coast, from Compton. Grand Poobah, Def Jeff, very underrated MC and producer. Chubb Rock, and Rap Industry for Social Evolution. So this song is pretty interesting. It's very weird. I didn't care for the beat, but the concepts were kind of all over the place, but it was interesting. Like in this track, Tragedy talks about, standing up against the government, talks about corruption, stand up for like the corruption in the government, that kind of thing. King T talks about black empowerment, which was really big early on in his career, especially around the Trifling album, At Your Own Risk, stuff like that. Then Grand Poobah talks about this lady, who's a mom, but she's a hoe, and she's a drug addict, basically. He talks about that. Def Jam speaks on slavery. And then Chubb Rock, man, he talks about a little boy being sold as a prostitute by both his parents. And for the sake of YouTube's guidelines, I did not write his lyrics because, again, I'm not trying to be like striked, but also like it's pretty disturbing, to say the least. You thought 13 and Good was bad? You gotta listen to the song for yourself. Chubb Rock's verse is very cringe, yo, but he does such a good job. It's like so believable. But like I said, it makes 13 and Good by Boogie Down Productions look like fucking Disney World. That's how bad that song is, man. I mean, that's how bad his verse was. But I do like the line by Tragedy when he said, "They label me a prejudiced poet. I'm speaking the truth as I know it. I hold on, but it's hard for me to handle. Too much lies, corruption, and scandal. Cops want to kill a brother or two. Who do you call when the gang wears blue? I ain't going out like an Uncle Tom, nigga. My gun is loaded. I'm itching to pull the trigger. I'm marked for death as a funky rhyme sayer. Corruption flows from the cops to the mayor." Love that shit. Grand Poobah when he said, "Hun did the flip, got a doobie wig. Now she thinks she's all that shit. She's all that shit. Her man does hits. Hun, living lovely, Miss Gucci. I'm even got a Benz when she drives around with her old friends. Miss Quick, fast, in a hurry. Speedy, speedy, speed. The bitch is greedy. Spend so fast, she got caught with 4 kids, and the man caught with a nice thick bid. Now the bitch is on skid, screaming on how she hates her kids. The move for the bitch is a thing quick and easy. Think slick, she better get with the wick. Cause foul is your style. You try to run the race, but you lose by a mile." Whew, dope, man. Dope. Love that shit. So that's track 18, Keep Control. Again, dope track, kind of weird. because like everybody, it kind of it reminds me of like Crash, the movie Crash that came out like in 2004, but a whole different point of views is weird, but I guess they made it work. I just didn't like the beat. I thought the beat was kind of weak. Thought the beat could have been a little bit better, a little bit more darker, a little more aggressive compared to especially for that subject, for those subject matters. Then we got track 19, Sweet Tooth featuring Pure Cane Sugar. Nope, I'm good on that. And track 20, Out for the Count, featuring Kevy Kev and Act B. Dope track right here, like the beat. The first rapper, whoever was the rapper, he kind of reminded me of Paris Smith from EPMD. Kind of give me those vibes as far as like his delivery and his voice. You know what I mean? So, and that's pretty much it. That's the whole point. That's the album review. My thoughts on this album. This was definitely a step down compared to his first album. First album made sense because you had a lot of heavy hitters, even though they were new in the game, but you had some heavy hitters. But with this album, you had so many like lesser known artists, like no names, like not to be funny or anything like that, but I mean, come on, you MC Amazing, MC Cash, The Flex, I mean, Big Money Wiz, Mike Nice, Pure Cane Sugar, like come on, man, like y'all could have come up with better names, man, and they were okay, but they were memorable. But I looked them up, and they have like no music out, like no like singles or 12-inch singles or anything like that. It's just like they just have this album. They were just featured on this album, and that's it. They just poof gone like thin air. It's like it's crazy, man. We definitely could have had more features from the Big Daddy Kane, Cool G Rap, Master Ace. Could have done it on the album. The skits were pointless. I didn't like the skits. I think the R&B did not work on this album. I get it, you're trying to mix it up, and it kind of gave me. He kind of made the same mistake with Dr. Dre's The Aftermath compilation album that came out in '96. Even though that album would trump this, that album was a better album than this. And I love Marl, but he definitely failed with this album. I'm just the only difference with the Dr. Dre album, he added a little bit too many R&B tracks. With this one, he added R&B tracks, but there wasn't much. But it just didn't work for this album. But you know what I mean? But I get it because he was trying to branch out. And at this time he wasn't really making money like that because I believe he sold his publishing and that kind of thing. So he was kind of like in financial struggles around this time. But yeah, this album was not that good. It was cool. It's not a memorable album. It has its moments, but yeah, even Marl himself don't like this album. So what does that tell you? But yeah, Marl were In Control Volume 2, released 1991. Let me know what you guys think about this album. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know. Shout out to you guys that show those comments in the videos. I really appreciate that. Definitely stay tuned for more. All right. Next video is a CD collection video. Got some heat, so definitely stay tuned for it. All right. Peace.